Welcome to the Bearcat Beat on LSPN, where each week we share conversations about everything that makes Sherman ISD athletics so great. I'm your host, Chris Daly. Sherman Bearcat Athletics represent the heart and soul of our community, where champions are made both on the field and in the classroom. Our student athletes embody the Bearcat spirit through dedication, perseverance, and excellence, creating memories and building character that will last a lifetime. Remember, it's better to be a Bearcat. This is just one of the many amazing things that the Booster Club accomplishes throughout the year for all sports. If you're interested in joining the Sherman Athletic Booster Club, or if you want to purchase some merchandise to show your Sherman Bearcat love, you can visit the website at shermanisd.net under the Athletics tab. All right, welcome back to the Bearcat Beat. I'm Chris Daly. Today I am joined once again by head football coach Josh Aleman. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you having me on again.
Oh, you bet, you bet. So let's do it. Let's wrap up the season, but first let's start with the final game, because it was a great way for the seniors to go out.
Absolutely. There was a lot of buildup going into that last game. Not only for it being the last game for the seniors, but the last game at Bearcat Stadium. So,
yeah.
There was a lot to it. It was all week getting up to the game. We did a new entrance where, after senior night, we loaded the buses and took the buses back around to the front of the stadium, walked through the stands. Really cool atmosphere. It was cool for the kids of the community to see all that. And, it was a one-time thing that we did, but it was a good start to closing out Bearcat Stadium. Then the game started, so we had all that going into it, and then the game started. Our kids were very locked in and prepared. We were great on offense, defense, and special teams. It ended Bearcat Stadium the way it should be with a win. We took care of Lebanon Trail 41-31. And then after the game, we had a lights out deal that Coach McDougal put together. And, man, it was really cool. We had fireworks on the 50-yard line. You always get nervous. I've never been that close to fireworks in my life, really, other than when we're setting them off ourselves with like a Roman candle or a sparkler.
Right. Nothing that big.
These were a grand finale for like 6 or 7 minutes. It was awesome, very emotional for our players, obviously, me and our coaching staff, and the guy and the Sherman community. I'm sure there were some tears out there, but I definitely got chill bumps watching it, and couldn't have sent Bearcat Stadium out on a better note.
I love that. And speaking of sending the stadium out, talk about what's going to be replacing Bearcat Stadium.
I'm going to tell you, it's going to be the best stadium in Grayson County, 100%. We pride ourselves on having the best facilities here, but this thing is top notch. There's nothing being missed on this deal. We just had a branding meeting last week. You're going to see a 2-story stadium with a huge press box, a huge jumbotron down there at the end of the field. Like I said, it's going to be the top stadium in Grayson County, and to be honest with you, it's going to be probably in the top 10 in the state, in my opinion, when it comes to facilities and how we're going to open this thing up. So we're fired up. Obviously, right now there's a lot of banging on metal and welding going on. But you know what? I couldn't be more excited for this community to have this stadium coming in and starting a new tradition. Nothing's ever going to replace Bearcat Stadium.
Sure.
But we're going to start a new history with this one. So we're excited about it and fired up to open it up next year.
That's so cool. And ballpark, what is the budget for a stadium like this?
Budgets are about as good as going to get groceries right now when it comes to that, with inflation and everything. But we passed the bond for $46 million a couple of years ago, and that's what the stadium. That's what we're building, a $46 million stadium, which is just incredible for this area and the things that it's going to be capable of doing. To showcase our athletes, our fine arts departments, our cheer, our high steppers. We're fired up about doing that, because it's not just going to be a football stadium. It's going to be a multi-purpose athletic facility that we can showcase to the state for events. When I'm talking about hosting track meets, band competitions, anything that you can imagine the stadium will be able to do.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And I mentioned the seniors. If you could talk about the seniors of this year's senior class and the impact they had on the team.
Well, so we met with them on Monday when we got back from the last game, and I'm gonna tell you what, like I truly think that they are the foundation piece for what's to come. And then
Mhm.
you hate that they didn't get to see the success on the field as much as they deserve to, in my
Right.
opinion. But here's the deal: they could have quit a long time ago. And I tell you what, we got better as the year went on. Their leadership got better as the year went on, and they set the foundation piece for us to be successful moving forward. And it's always hard to say that and hear that when you're
Yeah.
talking about kids because they didn't get to see the success, but they're going to be the reason that we have success moving forward because of the way they practiced, the way they played, the way they were disciplined on the field. And I love those kids to death. Each one of them, we have a personal relationship with them,
Mhm.
and it's hard to see them go because they left everything on the field for us. And then it's not just talking about the field; we're talking about off season and just changing their life into being the best person they can be. That's our motto is being your best. And so, man, I hate it for those guys. They didn't get to see the success,
Right.
but I love those dudes and what they set the foundation. I can finally say there's a foundation piece after 3 years that you can build off of,
Mhm.
and I truly believe you have to be able to compete before you win games, and that's what we
Yeah.
did this year. Probably minus one game against Lone Star, which not many people are having a lot of success with that
Yeah.
either. But um, we competed in every single game that we played, and that's something that you have to do in order to be able to start talking about wins. And so, doing that, especially against Wakeland the week before, 2 weeks before the season ended, 14-13 at the half, late into the third quarter, we're just giving them everything we got, and we couldn't hold up. And then you look at that and you're like, oh man, we could probably turn in because we played our best football that night and it didn't
Yeah.
work out for us. And then we went out there against Lebanon Trail and just got after them. And I'm super proud of our coaching staff, our kids, and our community. No one wants to say there was pressure involved in that, but you don't want to lose the last game at Bearcat
Right.
State. Sure. So, just happy for everyone involved in that. And it gives you kind of a springboard into our off season.
That's awesome. And you really can't overstate what those seniors meant in the fact that they didn't quit because at that age, a year is forever. In
Yes.
our age, yeah, a year is like not a big deal. But but man, that for them to realize that's it and still keep fighting and knowing they're not going to get to play next year, that's
Mm-hmm.
huge.
And I think, you look at it and you try to tell kids, that this thing's going to be over one day. And then when they realize that it's over, they're very emotional about it.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't think if you were to ask those kids individually, I don't think any of them have any regrets about how they approach the season, how they approach practice, how they approach their life now. And,
yep,
football's a life game, and that's all it is. And there's a lot of things that'll knock you down in life. There's a lot of things that you can learn from in life, but it's all about getting back up, playing the next play, and doing your best on every single rep. That's in life and in football. And these kids, man, I'm telling you, like you just wish it's class. You wish you could have another year with, but
yeah.
you can't. But I couldn't be more happy for those kids and who they're going to be as men.
I love that. I love that. So talk about the off season. What's next for the program in the off season?
So, we took a little week off there last week, had to turn in equipment, do our player exit meetings. We're starting up coaches evals this week. We checked out equipment this morning. We'll check it out again tomorrow, and we're starting off season. So we're going to kind of transition to. It's called Feed the Cats, and it's not for the show. That's what the program's called.
Mhm.
Um, and basically, what it is, and long story short, here is that everything's going to be measured. Everything's going to be put on a board. Everything is going to be goal oriented about like we're going to go run flying tens one day. Well, we're going to run that time that day. The next time we run flying tens, we want to be faster. And
Yeah.
so we want to just keep getting same thing in the weight room. Everything is going to be measured, scaled, weighed, everything that you can do. And then once we get into the period, we're going to be skill-based when it comes to football. We're going to work, really hone in on football skills when we get to that period of time. But we're excited about it because it's all about max effort, full recovery. But we got to get that max effort. And we got to find out what that max effort is in order for us to be able to be successful. And when we're going to the track and we're going to our other sports and we're going into football, we've got to run each route at 100%. And what is our 100% threshold? Well, the only way to measure that is by putting it down and taking times and doing it. So that's what we're geared for. We're excited about it, and it's going to take us to the next level of how we do things around here and really hone in on these guys getting faster and stronger and pushing themselves. It's easy to go out there and say we're going to have a max week and we're going to go run as fast as we can 1 week out of the year. 1 week out of each phase, and we're going to try to beat that again in 9 weeks. We're going to try to beat it every single week. And so that's something that's it's going to push our kids to be their best and really focus in on the little details of giving everything they got. All their energy's got to go to that rep. And I think that translates to a football field of being able to, every single rep is about 6 seconds. Can you go 6 seconds at all you got? And that's our goal. And then we got to be able to repeat that over and over and over again. So we're excited about it for sure.
Yeah. And you mentioned exit interviews. It depends on the environment that you're in. Sometimes exit interviews are just kind of standard rote stuff, but other times you find some surprises in those exit interviews because those seniors don't have to worry about, oh no, I can't say anything because it'll reflect poorly on me. What is your experience with exit interviews? Have you heard any surprising things that have maybe changed the way you think about something?
I think there's always things that you find surprising when you give kids the opportunity to kind of speak and speak freely, But in our senior exit interviews, we talk about things, they look back and kind of say what they think that we could have done a little bit better or what we may have let slip here, let slip there. But it's more than anything for me to let those kids know that this is not just a 4-year plan with me. It's a lifetime plan. And that if you ever need anything, regardless of what it is, I don't care. I expect you to pick up the phone and call. I expect you to be at our games. I expect you to come back and say, Coach Aleman, can I get on the field this week? And the answer is yes. And that's the relationships that we've built over the 3 years with that group. And, it's like I said, this thing is, it's more than a scoreboard a lot. Okay. It's about building these kids to be men and understanding how to use football as that avenue. You know what I mean? And so they can go back and look at all the things they've gone through. But that's really what that meeting's about. It's just me letting them know that I love them, that I care about them, and that it doesn't stop because football's over. So I really just try to hone in on that. Now with the younger kids, we get in there and we're very honest with them. We're very straightforward with them about things that we did well, things that we need to improve on, what our off season needs to look like. What are we doing in the summer? What other sports are we playing? Are you going to be on the track? We really hone in on what we can improve and what they did well. And then also give them, it's academics as well. It's not just a check the box exit meeting. It's a very straightforward, and we ask them to be straightforward with us. That's the relationship piece that we have with our kids is I ask them to hold me accountable. So if there's something that I do that is not to the standard of being our best, then they need to address me and tell me. So it's the same thing with them when we have our meetings. We're very straightforward, very upfront about what just happened this past year and how we can get better from it all across the board. It's the same thing with our coaches evals that are going on right now as well. It's sometimes conversations are hard, but that's how you get to where you need to be. Because this world, it's a little different from when me and you grew up, you know what I mean? So, but there's got to be people out there that let our kids know where they're at, let our coaches know where they're at, and my boss obviously let me know where I'm at as well. It's just part of the accountability piece, and I think everybody yearns for it and wants it. And so that's what we're very have a great staff that does a great job with that. And so that's kind of the evaluation piece. I think that was probably longer than short, but that's how we go about it.
Nice. And I know we're way early for talking about next season, but what do you have, assuming nothing changes in terms of returning starters?
So right now, I was just doing this earlier. We have, I believe it's 8 on offense. It may be 7: quarterback, running back, 3 offensive linemen, 2 outside receivers. So J.D. Moore, Christian Mackey, Pierre Brauhau, Braden Sheffield, Landon Robinson, Chase Smith, and Ryken Anderson on offense. Defensively, we'll have Bryson Taylor, T.J. Johnson. Those are both our safeties. We'll also have Wes will be back at corner for us. And so you got Nolan, we got Wes coming back. And then, linebacker wise, we'll have Sonero. Will Dutton will be back for us. So we have a ton of kids coming back. They were really young. You don't want to roll into a game with, 8 sophomores playing, but we had to at the end. But I think it's very tremendous for them with what they learned on the field, the evaluation piece and the speed, them learn how to play at that speed as sophomores. And we have some kids on the JV that are going to come up and do really well for us. Like I told you before, it's all about development if we can. There's no point in them standing by me on Friday when they can play 120 snaps on Thursday. So we did a really good job with that as well. So we're fired up about what we have coming back.
Awesome. And Snapshot Day was not too long ago. What do you think that means for Sherman when it comes to realignment coming up?
Well, Sherman's going to stay 5A Division I. We turned in 2134. That number is not going to – the 6A cutoff is not coming down to there. Right. What I think is going to happen, it's all speculation, sure. But with what Melissa turned in, I find it hard to believe that Frisco's or UIL will bypass Melissa and then say, Sherman, you go back down to Frisco again. I think they'll have some way of pulling Melissa to either Frisco's if they want to do that. I've also heard, though, we want to get to 17 districts, which I would love that because, you would love to be firing on all cylinders by week 3, but that sure is hard to make sure you're ready to go by week 3 and everything means something. But we'll have our kids ready to go wherever they send us. But I could see East. I don't really see West. There's not anything there. Mm-hmm. But, I think Sherman being so far north, what they do is they draw all their districts. This is my opinion, but they draw all their districts and they get a little tack and say, oh, there's Sherman. Let's go Frisco this time. Let's go Longview next time. You know what I mean? So we're kind of just in no man's land for being a Division I. But staying down one more time, I think will be beneficial for us. And no matter where they put us, we'll be ready to play.
I love it. Well, Coach, gosh, congratulations on just building a strong program. You can see all the bricks are there. It's just a matter of getting it lined up. I love it.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you for listening to the Bearcat Beat. Each week throughout the school year, you will hear all sorts of great information about all the athletic programs at Sherman ISD. Please do us a favor. Like, share, comment, do whatever you can to help us reach more Bearcat fans.
Hey Coach, Lone Star Gridiron has been the leader in Coach's Show podcasts for 20 years, and now you can get your own Coach's Show podcast each week during the season as a fundraiser for your booster club. Yes, booster clubs all over are using these podcasts to help their sports programs. You get to share the stories of your program and your kids to a huge audience and make money. We started with just football, but this year have expanded to make them available for all sports. Call 713-269-4620 to find out the details and get your Coach's Show started.